We could unmute it, but we don't have a quorum till Bill walks in.
I'll give him a minute.
I think he can go back to his car, Mike.
Oh, okay.
She's right.
That's right.
We're ready.
So since you buddy in here, Robin Bart.
Those Riven Buck boys. And I
Yeah, Charlie, my brother, one of my brothers, speaks in office.
All right, so now we have a quorum, April.
Yes, we have a plan.
We're good to go.
If you're ready to start, we just need to start the live Zoom.
Go ahead.
And recording as well.
Are we in broadcasting?
Yeah. I don't need to hit it.
Okay. Call the executive committee meeting to order for October 14th, 2024. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you to all that are online, made the effort to join us. We appreciate it. So we're called to order. Welcomed, everybody. We have people online. I guess we got to do a roll call for attendance, so.
Mr. Forte,
Yep.
Mr. Coleman. Not here. Mr. Rivenbark.
Here.
Ms. Newton, not here. Mr. Barbie.
Here.
It looks like Jackie just joined. Is that Jackie?
Looks it.
Oh. Yeah,
Is that Jackie Newton that just joined us? Till she's there.
I'll keep her as absent until we hear from her. Ms. Dawson joining us right now, at least. Ms. Bozeman,
Here.
Ms. Batts,
Here.
and Mr. Great.
Here.
We also have Ms. Grady from Northwest joining us today. Hello, Ms. Grady. But she is not a voting member of the executive committee.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Sheila.
Hey, Sheila.
All right. I will lead us in an invocation and pledge. Most Heavenly Father, we ask that you guide us, make us wise, so that whatever decisions we make today are the correct ones. We ask that you watch over everybody as they travel home, get them home safely. And in these times, I want a blessing on all of our first responders, our military, and everybody, and particularly our friends in the western part of the state. Please watch over each and every one of them. We ask these things in your most holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Right. Okay. Everybody have an agenda?
I'll walk right past it.
All right, I need an approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion.
How much?
Brenda, second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Forte,
Aye.
Mr. Rivenbark.
Aye.
Just checking to see if Ms. Newton had joined us. Mr. Barbie,
Aye.
Ms. Bozeman,
Um,
Ms. Batts.
Aye.
Great. Mr. Great, so sorry.
Aye.
Okay,
Motion carries.
moving on. Approval of the minutes from the August 12th meeting. Somebody like to make a motion?
So moved.
And Barbie, second?
I'll second.
Can be one of those meetings. Roll call, please.
Mr. Forte.
Aye.
Mr. Rivenbark.
Aye.
Mr. Barbie,
Aye.
Ms. Bozeman,
Aye.
Ms. Batts.
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
Motion passes. Finance report, Dawn.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be presenting the financial statements for the first quarter of our fiscal year. So to be as of September 30th, 2024. They have, most everybody are spending as they should be. You'll note that there are some underspending. We're in the continuum of care program. We have in the permanent supportive housing, there's a reserve balance of $88,000. This number is a little bit skewed, saying that we're at 85% spent for the year. And when we will address this when we do our budget ordinance, but we had originally planned on transferring these funds to another organization. And HUD is not allowing us to transfer until the grant has expired. So we couldn't move these funds over. So we're having a little bit more expenses in this grant than what we originally had intended for. So it looks a little like we're overspending for the whole year, but this grant's actually going to end in December anyway.
Okay.
And then in our aging and workforce development program, we have our contracts that get started, and usually it takes they're usually a month behind anyway, and they're as far as billings, but we usually don't start getting all of our contractors rolling with expenses until August or September anyway. And we have a couple of months to catch up. So we should, when we present in December, have a more accurate reflection. I know Holly's, have you gotten all your contracts back? And I think you have gotten all your contracts back. We're just getting going spending. Yeah. But everyone else is on their way. The disaster recovery, that one's at 0%, but that's one we had discussed before. That's going to be removed from this budget. That's what we thought was originally going to be carried forward, that they wouldn't, the state did not extend the grant. But everyone else we should be at about 25%, and we are, and I'm not concerned about anyone not getting their spending completed. Anybody have any questions?
Anybody online have any questions?
No, but I'm here finally. I had technical difficulties, sorry.
Thank you.
You're
welcome.
saying that more than you know, Jackie. The techno idiot. All right, I need a motion to accept the budget report.
So move.
Was that Lamont?
It is.
Lamont and Lynn? Roll call?
Mr. Forte.
Aye.
Mr. Rivenbark.
Aye.
Ms. Newton.
Aye.
Mr. Barbie.
Aye.
Ms. Bozeman. Ms. Batts.
Aye.
Mr. Great.
Thank you all. Okay, we have a budget ordinance amendment. This one is I'm gonna let Alan explain this. It's basically kind of house cleaning, but I'll let Alan explain.
Yeah, so it is largely housekeeping. So as those of you who've been with us for a little while should remember, but maybe new to those of you who are fairly new to us, unlike a lot of your jurisdictions, like a lot of your jurisdictions, we adopt our budget in June or in May for June, or in June for July start of the fiscal year. Unlike a lot of your jurisdictions, a lot of our funds are grant funds, and we don't have final allocations always by the time we're adopting a budget. And more particularly, a lot of our grant funds are not on a fiscal year, and so they carry forward. And so in October, we typically have a fairly significant budget amendment to true up a lot of the estimates on grant amounts that we were estimating now that we've got final numbers, and also to true up a lot of the carry forward for the multi-year grants to figure out, once we've figured out exactly what has been spent by the end of June, and to true all that up. Most of the changes in this amendment falls into those categories of adjusting carryovers and adjusting or carry forwards and adjusting for actual rather than budgeted grant amounts. The couple of exceptions to that, as Don just mentioned, and as we discussed last month, there was the $150,000 worth of disaster recovery money that the state last minute said was unable to be extended. Bless you. And so while we talked about it last month, we're not actually adjusting the budget for that until this month. That's in the local government services, a negative 119,000, 150 of that is the disaster recovery money. And then there's an additional increase of about $28,000 or so for some, as you guys may remember, we've done many for a lot of your jurisdictions. We provide salary studies, pay class studies for a lot of you guys through a subcontract with the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. So there's two of those that we're not budgeted for, plus a third one that we're expecting, that we're just sort of anticipating. And so that's new revenue, but also new expenditure, because we're going to be paying most of the funds that you guys pay us for those studies out to the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. So there's additional expenditures there. As Don also just mentioned, in the homeless continuum of care, we've got an increase in expenses, largely because, well, like she said, we thought we were going to be transferring that grant and therefore not expending the funds. But HUD wouldn't allow us to transfer that grant yet. We're going to run that grant through the end of December. And so this accounts for the additional expenses that we will have through December of this fiscal year. The last thing, and this is definitely one that's particularly atypical, you will see at the bottom of the revenues in particular, we are proposing to use $12,000 of fund balance this fiscal year. This is a very odd thing for us, and this is something where we're cleaning up the books. How long ago was it, Don? 10 years ago?
Probably, because it was something that Cherie had done, and
So probably 10 years ago, the homeless continuum of care program got $12,000 worth of funds from an agency to perform some services that never happened. And the agency that gave us the funds does not exist anymore. And so the funds are restricted. We can't spend them for anything else, but they've been sitting on the books in the bank for 10 years with no ability to perform the scope of work and no ability to return the funds to the grantor. Well, it turns out the grantor became an agency that became Trillium. And we have finally convinced Trillium to take their $12,000 back so we can clear it off the books. And so we will be doing that, but it is in fund balance. And so we need the board to approve the use of that fund balance. You probably didn't notice every year in our audit where that $12,000 was, being carried forward, but that will be cleared up finally. So those are the major sort of elements there of this amendment, and happy to answer any questions there may be.
Anybody have any questions for Alan on all that?
That's government at its best.
Isn't it though? Just pencil pushing all over the place, moving money from A to B. Now, I will entertain a motion to approve or not.
So moved.
Bill and Lamont. Roll call.
Mr. Forte.
Aye.
Mr. Rivenbark.
Aye.
Ms. Newton.
Aye.
Mr. Barbie.
Aye.
Bozeman.
Aye.
Ms. Batts.
Aye.
Mr. Great.
Ah,
Thank you all. Moving on, also in finance, to the pay plan amendment. It is in your packet, or the one you were emailed prior to this meeting, if you're online.
This is a very basic pay plan amendment. There are two changes to the pay plan. The first is just simply the elimination of a grant funded program for a grant that has expired. So that staff member is no longer with us. It's the Aging Program Coordinator, that second row in the classification. And so that we're just eliminating that position because that is no longer a funded position.
It was an ARPA fund.
Those were ARPA funds. The other change is just simply in the table of the salary schedule with the steps and the grades. In June, when you guys approved our budget, you approved a 4% COLA. That COLA doesn't go into effect until November 1st, typically, because we've always done it that way, because as we say, this big October amendment, we didn't know what the funds were going to be. So we always wait till November 1st to implement the COLA. And so the COLA has been, the steps and the grades have been adjusted 4% for cost of living. That is the only other change in the pay plan.
Any questions for Alan on that? Yeah, that will require a motion as well.
So moved.
Thank God you're here. And Brenda, roll call.
Unless you smell me all day.
Yeah.
Mr. Forte,
Aye.
Mr. Rivenbark, Ms. Newton,
Aye.
Mr. Barbie,
Aye.
Ms. Bozeman, Ms. Batts,
Aye.
Mr. Great.
Thank you all. I believe that's all of our actions for today. Thank God. All right, staff reports, Alan, start with you.
We are going to try to get you guys out of here in record time. The first thing, as always, is my contract summary, which you have in your packet. I will, just sort of highlight that it includes a number of our subaward contracts with our workforce partners. And so there's a number of, especially at the top there, to Two Hawk Employment Services, Brunswick Community College, and Southeastern Community Colleges, some fairly significant grants for our workforce program. Also, several of our aging grants with our counties are in there. New Hanover and Pender in particular, sizable contracts with those agencies. Oh, and Columbus. Still waiting on Brunswick's. And then a number of primarily local government services contracts. And so that is the bulk of what you will find there. I guess there's a couple other things I'll highlight. The flood mitigation grant agreement. So that's I think at the last meeting, Wes introduced Chip to you guys, who's running that program. So I guess we had not presented that grant agreement to you guys yet. And then the Choosing Home grant agreement, which I'm going to let Holly discuss at her aging update. But that is another new funding source. So that is a quick summary of our contracts. On the agenda identifies that as needing an action, but that does not require an action from the board.
Before we move on, I have a question, please. Is Brunswick Community College,
Mhm.
so I'm the president of the foundation there.
Mhm.
I'm all about the money to the college. What exactly is this subaward?
I'm going to let Ginger explain it in detail, but this is essentially Brunswick County contracts with the COG to provide workforce development services. So they run the career center
Right.
in Brunswick County with our Workforce Investment Opportunity Act funds.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm familiar. Okay. I didn't realize that's what that was.
Yeah. So we've got 3 contractors across the region. Brunswick Community College handles it in Brunswick County, Southeastern handles it in Columbus, and Two Hawk handles it in Pender and New Hanover.
Got it. Any other questions on that?
And I actually don't think I have any other updates for you guys. I'm just gonna let my staff give you their updates and move on.
Right,
So that's everything I have.
area on agent, Holly?
So, good morning. So we've had some staff changes with the Area Agency on Aging. Our aging compliance specialist left us back in, I think, late April. And we've hired a new one. Her name is Logan Elkins. She grew up in Columbus County, still lives in Columbus County, and commutes here to help us with our monitoring and coordinating of our programs. We also had Kaylee Weaver leave us. She went to work for the Division of Aging at the state level, so we were very happy for her. But we are hiring a new aging specialist. We just put the job description out last week and hope to get somebody on board the next couple of weeks for that. Alan mentioned choosing home. It's new grant funds. They're the state fiscal recovery funds. And it's going to be about $50,000 for each county to do housing home improvement. And it's very flexible funds, which we're super excited about. So maybe it can help with some of like the cyclone folks over in Brunswick County that might not get insurance funds. But at 50,000, we know that money is going to be spent very, very quickly for people that need that are over the age of 60. And we will be getting those out probably, I don't know, in the next month or two. Those funds aren't going until 2026. So I feel like I'm not in a rush because people are just trying to figure out everything with disasters that have been going on across the state. So we will get those out soon. We have trained people in Dementia Friends, about 200 people across the region in the past like 4 or 5 months. We've had a fall prevention education in Pender County that we did scams and frauds for. WECT covered a really great caregiver disaster planning event that we had in Columbus County back on August 12th, which was really great. And how, convenient for it to be right when we had all these disasters to tell caregivers how to prepare.
And in fact, WCT did a really nice job. I will send you guys a link to that story. They did a really, really nice job.
It's on our Facebook page.
Oh, is it?
We always put it on our social media anytime we have anything like that. So
What was it about?
that was caregiver disaster planning. So our staff was there to tell people how to start planning for disasters, what they need to have ready. We partnered with AARP, who has a whole disaster kit. But it was really, really a good education.
And also, I think it just had a lot of good support for why senior centers are important.
Yes, exactly, because they are the focal points in each one of your counties, which is great. And then we had a really nice Forget-Me-Not Memory Cafe on September 4th that we hosted. We get grant funds from, I don't know if you know, Captain Bill's Backyard Grill. They have an outdoor volleyball venue and they do a fundraiser every year and the funds go to caregivers in New Hanover County. So we hosted a memory cafe where they bring their loved ones with memory impairment. And it's a great social event. And we did it at the Cameron Art Museum this year. And PBS was there to highlight different ways people are supporting caregivers across North Carolina. And that should be published in 2025. So we'll be sure to send you all a link on that also. And lately, our counties have been so wonderful. I had the AAA directors in the West reach out to me asking, what do you do after disaster like this? Y'all have done it over and over again. And your folks in Brunswick County, New Hanover County, Pender, they all just rallied and sent emails and said, join your VOAD. Here's what you need to do. When they talk about hiring case managers, don't let them contract that out. Get your local case managers. They know your resources. They know where everything is. But it was just so neat to see them reach out and share that information with our folks out in the West. So we're doing good things.
One thing we did, we sent our communications director, Josh Smith,
Yeah.
and when he got there, they had communication sites set up everywhere, just crazy. And he got them all in one.
Yeah, we sent out like 24 Starlink pads.
Mhm.
Everything was down.
Crazy. They're still going to have water for a very long time in Asheville. So they're trying to figure that out. And the AAA director is there in Asheville. That's where.
My sheriff is
Sky
still
is.
there. He went up the day after. He's still there.
Yeah, we got 6 police.
Yeah, you have a bunch?
6 fire.
Ours just came back Thursday.
Well, we're rotating them out.
We had somebody gave us a $40 million jet, file them up there.
Wow.
Wow. Thank you.
How about that? That's nice.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess you can't drive.
And then we have a caregiver event planned in Brunswick County on November 9th at the Bridge Presbyterian Church.
What's going on? Any questions for Holly? Anybody online have questions for Holly? All right, moving on, homeless continuum of care, Andrea?
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So yeah, just a couple updates for this, July through September quarter for homeless services. We continue to provide financial support and case management services to 23 clients in permanent supportive housing so that they can maintain their housing with the support that helps make that happen. We our coordinated entry housing line received 476 calls were logged in, which is on average 29 more calls than we had per month the previous 6 months. So we're definitely seeing an increase in awareness and understanding of what that service is. Of those folks, we had almost 200 individuals, 197 actually enroll with coordinated entry as folks that are experiencing homelessness or in imminent danger, meaning they'll be homeless within 2 weeks to access services. Of those, it was 134 households, so we did have 52 children under 18 that were included in that number. In that same time period, we had 37 individuals exit to housing. 15 of those with ongoing subsidy or help from some of the programs that we fund. 14 without the ongoing financial assistance, but with the case management that came to make that successful as well. And then 7 are staying with family or friends as a temporary or permanent solution. We received our conditional award letter for ESG funding. We just wrapped up that competition where we are able to fund programs that do emergency solutions to homelessness. And so we are onboarding a new agency that's doing street outreach and then continuing to fund some of our emergency shelters and then our HMIS, our homeless management information system that just is the place where we keep all of our data. We are also currently in the middle of our CFC, which is Continuum of Care funding competition, where we award funds for programs that support housing. We are recommending, and we're not approving that yet, but recommending to continue to house folks in our permanent supportive housing. And then also we are recommending funding to a new program, which is Safe Haven and Pender for rapid rehousing for domestic violence victims. So we're really excited about that. We have done a lot of different outreach. We got to meet with Carolina Beach on what our services are. We met with Pender, a Rotary team that are now connecting with the school system for homeless families and looking at doing some grants to support. So we're excited to kind of expand our community partnerships. We're working closely with Brunswick, with our partners there that are obviously having some temporary homeless situations where folks are needing to leave their place of residence for repairs and flooding, and where can they go in the meantime, and how do they access the support, and how do we help coordinate that support with folks. We also met with some new laundry and shower trailer services coming to Brunswick. We're excited about, and then did some in-depth training on coordinated entry and HMIS. We're looking at new software options. One of the other big things that we were able to do is participate in the City of Wilmington and New Hanover County Joint Task Force on the unsheltered homeless. And they were able, along with us and other key partners and our direct service folks, to present strategies that were recommended from that work. And one of the key strategies is to be able to expand or enhance the services that coordinated entry and homeless services are providing to the region. They recognize kind of the value of having that coordinating partner and realize that we might be a little under-resourced. So the plan may be to increase that funding, to increase staff so that we can increase the support, not only in our City of Wilmington and New Hanover County partners, but also that should maybe take some of the burden off of our Pender and Brunswick partners as well. In that same vein, the New Hanover County Endowment did announce $14 million in housing grants to a lot of our partners as well. And so we're hoping again that we're in this kind of space where some of that momentum will relieve some of the pressure all of our areas are feeling, all of our unsheltered and sheltered homes feel. And I think that's the main update. It's been a busy couple months. For sure.
Any questions?
I just want to make a comment. I met with the new director of the foundation, Dan Winslow.
Oh, okay.
Just the most incredible man I've ever met in my life. He's a state legislature in Massachusetts. He ran against John Kerry for Senate, lost. he became a judge. And then Mitt Romney, when he got in the Senate, he hired him to be his chief counsel. So he stayed with him. And he's been running an $11 billion fund up in the Northeast. Wow. Several states together. But he's got a plan. I tell you what, he told me that once he gets it in place, he said, I think we can give the county $100 million a year, after year after year. Build a lot of houses.
Yeah,
With that, for sure. But anything you see about him, read it, because he's just an incredible person.
you're expecting a large return on that money.
Yes, sir. He's bringing ideas to us that we just, we ain't never done this before.
Right.
And the first guy was, we made a mistake and got rid of that mistake and we got it fixed now.
Good for you.
That happens.
Any questions for Andrea before we move on?
Good job.
I just wanted, the presentation you guys did at Carolina Beach, I thought was very well received, and appreciate you coming down, just trying to educate people. Even members of my council don't know what the company is all about, so that education is great for them. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Anybody online have any questions for Andrea? We'll move on. Local government services, Wes?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I jump into some of the things that we've been doing, I did want to mention, Alan assisted getting an NCORE grant for 2 of our local governments. You want to provide a quick update on that?
Yeah, so just let you guys know or remind you that several years ago, we got a multi-year grant from North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resiliency. We didn't actually get the grant. We facilitated the grant for Sandyfield and Bolton were the grantees. But part of the grant was that they would hire the COG to provide management specialists to those communities to help them with additional capacity that they need in office administrative finance type capacities. So that grant the funds will expire right around the end of this calendar year. And so at the end of last fiscal year, we were in conversations with those 2 communities about what they wanted to do with these grant funds expiring. And I just thought it's a fantastic it's very telling about how successful that program was, that both communities decided to continue funding that position through end of June. So they've, out of their own funds, previously it had been all state funds. So they're going to spend local money to keep that person assisting them. And I think that just sort of highlights the value of what the COG does for some of our smaller communities that, when they were getting free services with state grant that were so valuable that when the funds expired, they committed local funds to keep it going. So, just kudos to Claudia, who's our staff member embedded at Sandyfield and Bolton, and for the great work she's been able to do for those communities.
It's very telling that they were willing to put local money in.
It's rare.
Yeah.
Indeed. Sam, quickly, where we are for projects and prioritization.
Yes. So every 2 years, roughly, NCDOT updates their 10-year long-range plan for transportation projects. And the Cape Fear RPO, as well as the other planning organizations across the state, just finished assigning priority points to projects that we had submitted around this time last year. The state scores these projects based on data, sends them back to the planning organizations, who then submit their top priorities of those projects based on how well they compete with other projects across the region and across the state. And so our advisory board just approved the list of those priorities at our meeting last week.
Thank you. And Sam mentioned that in Brunswick County, 36 out of the 40 impacted roads of DOT have been now fixed as a result.
Yeah, something, I don't remember the exact number, but a large chunk of all the damage that was done with the storms, DOT's response has been tremendous, and
they've been great. We've only got a handful of still, and one will be ready in about a couple of days.
Very soon.
Again.
That's pretty impressive.
And that's a biggie. So that's huge. Can't say enough about how good DOT has been with their response.
I agree.
I mean, certainly my citizens have a lot to say, but I think they've been incredible. So I want to thank them for that.
Yes, it's impressive they got all that stuff done so quickly. And then we're continuing to work on the flood mitigation assistance grant. In fact, Chip Bartlett was on the phone with the Assistant County Manager of New Hanover this morning, and we'll be reaching out to severe repetitive loss properties in New Hanover County specifically to request any interest in projects between now and December 1. Beyond that, we are working all over the region on a number of projects, primarily as it relates to aspects of development entitlement or helping someone update their ordinance to make sure that folks can properly request to have something built there in their community. And then we've been doing a number of trainings since we last met. We've been in Bald Head. We did training in Sunset Beach, Burgaw, and Oak Island as well. So that's all I have to say. That's all I have for our department. Thank you.
Wes, anybody have any questions for Wes?
I would just like to share with you guys some feedback I got from a training Wes did at Bald Head, Iowa. Both the assistant city manager and the city manager, village manager, and the village manager emailed me separately to say what a fantastic job Wes did. And so we're just really lucky to have him. He provides a great resource to communities in our region, and the trainings that he provides for your communities are invaluable.
Thank you.
He's all right.
I appreciate that. I will say this, the 211 was not yet open though. So when I left the Deep Point Ferry.
I'm sorry.
Oh, boy. I didn't call you though, Mike.
Yeah, you're the only one who did.
Yeah.
It was taking people 5 and 6 hours to get out of Southport.
It was, yeah. Bad.
My phone was literally getting hot.
Wow. Imagine. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it, Alan.
Anybody online have any questions for Wes?
I think I was just Lynn the other night. We're building houses around here on a 25-year storm plan.
Mm-hmm.
How much was the one you had down at the beach? How many years?
1,000
year. Probably need to
Yeah,
change that.
PGCA kicked our butts.
The home builders are probably not gonna get really excited about that, but that needs to be fixed.
We're anticipating changing our UDO from 25-year storm plans to bare minimum 100. We might try to push it to 500, see if we can legally do that. And I'll share this because Sam is here. In our legislative goals that we just passed the other day on Thursday morning, through the RPO, the DOT, we're asking that they maintain all the river streams, all the tributaries, as well as some of the ditches. Because that's been some of our problems is water kind of has nowhere to go. We're gonna try to put a little pressure on DOT, but the prioritization project that we worked on for a year, truly an exercise in futility, was $61 million in the red. So, we did all of this, but I understand why. So that we can keep it on the list for when they do come up with some kind of money. But there's not gonna be any projects approved. If they are, they're gonna be so minimal.
Our stormwater goes around when they haven't got just a big project and cleaning the ditches out. But there's some up toward across from Laney High School.
Okay,
When it a bad rain, it floods that whole everything.
yeah.
Just because it's.
My wife used to work right near them. I get it. Any other questions for Wes?
Mike, I do have a question, if you
Sure.
don't mind. I've just came to my mind, question of, were there any federal funds released to assist with the no-name storm? Was that ever accomplished?
No.
We have not been declared by FEMA yet.
That's right.
We have to meet a financial threshold.
Mm-hmm.
I was up in Greensboro Thursday afternoon through Saturday evening. And a state EOC director was there, Will Ray. And he's aware that we have not been declared yet for any FEMA reimbursement. And we're trying to get there for Brunswick County,
Yes.
but I don't know that we're gonna make it. If we can
Okay.
include everything DOT's paying out, we easily make it, but that's not part of the package.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I'll make sure we keep you posted.
Okay,
That-
appreciate that.
Okay. All right, moving on, workforce development, Ginger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I begin, I just want to say, in case you guys don't follow Commissioner Forte, I don't think the man ever sleeps. Through the unnamed storm and then continuing through Helene, he was just constantly putting out updates and keeping everybody informed. And I just found that very impressive. So that's what
Thank you.
All right, so workforce development. I too was in Greensboro all last week with my team. It's our annual conference. And they actually had to shorten it because of the storms out west and a lot of people were not able to attend. So they did shorten it, but it's always bookended with other trainings. So staff went through procurement and contract training, which is good. It's some financial management training. Everybody on my team presented at conference, some sort of workshop. And also our board chair and another board member from the private sector served on a panel. And everything, this is business services, looking at our sector partnerships and the development of relationships among industry partners. So that was a really big hit at the conference and we were very pleased with that. Let's see. So we were doing all that with the training. Right now we do have some new workforce development board members. So we're working on doing some training with them so that they know their roles and responsibilities. And then the team is also going through creating RFPs. We'll be doing a new lease for our New Hanover County NC Works Career Center, possibly Brunswick. That's still up in the air. And then also for our programs. And those are the programs, Commissioner Forte, that you were kind of asking about with Brunswick Community College. They're a subrecipient to deliver those services. And we help young people ages 16 to 24. We help people who are displaced from their jobs. And then also just anybody over 18 who is low income, underemployed, or needs help securing employment. So we do a lot with that. We will be recognized by the NC Works Commission, which is our statewide workforce development board, at their next meeting in November for our recent development of another certified career pathway. And for those of you who are familiar with career pathways, they're usually, K-12 and the community college system, they have these pathways. So what we do is we look at the data and then we certify whether or not these pathways are relevant to the labor market here in our 4-county region. And so we've just done one in advanced manufacturing because those jobs continue to grow in the area and they continue to change. So these pathways are developed where people can identify different access points to career changers or young people who are just embarking on a career, that kind of a thing. So we're really excited about that. And that's really it. Like you, Holly, we've had a lot of calls because they're getting disaster funds out west. And they're asking us, about compliance and how do we structure our programs when we've had disaster funds here. To your point, Ms. Grady, we, for workforce development, because we haven't been declared, we haven't been able to access funds. And typically those funds help people who were displaced from their jobs because of business closures. So I know the first one that came to mind is Veggie Wagon. A lot of their staff were temporarily unemployed. We could have paid people, displaced workers, to do cleanup and recovery and clean out ditches and drain, things like that. We are not able to do that until we're declared. And we, by the time we would get those funds, there may not be anything left for us to do. So we kind of put that aside, but we were trying in the very beginning. We were talking to our friends at DOL and at the state to try to access some funding to help those immediately, but we were unable to do so. That's it.
Any questions for Ginger?
These guys are working hard.
Mm-hmm. Anybody online have any questions for Ginger? Mayor Grady, I want to, real quick follow-up on that FEMA declaration. I don't know offhand if you went to Web EOC and put in anything at all that you've had to spend for your town. I know there's a couple of towns, municipalities, that have not entered any information onto Web EOC. All of that gets compiled countywide to help us get to that threshold for the declaration. If you could follow up and just see if your emergency director has put that into Web EOC, every dime will help us. We're trying to get.
Okay,
I appreciate it.
thank you.
All right, we've come to the point where I'm supposed to make comments. There's, top of my list, Commissioner Jackie Newton. This will be her last meeting with us. Jackie, we want to thank you for your service, for your help with all of this. I didn't want that to go unrecognized. So thank you for being a part of the COG. We will miss you.
Thank you.
All right. As I had said earlier, I was in Greensboro for 3 days. It's the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Board of Directors meeting. Obviously, the entire topic of conversation for 3 days was the storm, Hurricane Helene, and what it did to the western part of the state. I gotta tell you, Appalachian people are a breed all unto themselves. Man, they just jump in, they help one another. It took a long time for the state and FEMA to get there. These people had no, and a lot of them still don't have power, internet, water. The devastation, I mean, I had so many of my commissioner friends that managed to get to this meeting. And they're all with their phones showing me things that we have not seen on social media. To call it horrific, I don't possess the vocabulary to say how bad it really was. My God, you know, I wrote a couple of checks to my sheriff's office and to Samaritan's Purse. I feel like I didn't do anything. I gave them a few $1,000s, but I feel like I wish I could have been there to help them. It's just so bad, but they got their chin up and they're digging. Everybody went in the barn and pulled out whatever implements they had to start digging and cleaning up. You could hear, a bunch of them told me you could hear chainsaws going 24 hours a day. Just trying to clear roadways. It's gonna be a long time before they're back. Some of my fellow commissioners up there told me it may be a decade, and for some towns, they may never come back. So when Mayor Barbie and I and Mayor Brenda complain about PTC 8 flooding us out, we're coming back. I mean, it's only been like 3 weeks, and we're pretty much back. I still have a couple of washouts that have to be attended to. Makes you count your blessings. It's gonna be a decade. I don't know that the town of Chimney Rock ever comes back.
I don't think it will.
Me either. The entire town is in Lake Lure. It's unreal.
Yeah, we had about the same, roughly, big picture, we had about the same range that they did. So the difference is our rain just stays until it can go away.
And recedes quickly.
And recedes quickly because we're close to, we're near sea level, right?
Yeah.
But for them, it runs downhill and it takes anything and everything with it.
The mudslides, the trees tumbling down, tumbling down the mountainside, it's just.
So we got a railroad track. How do you use that unless your water just ain't out under it?
Yeah, yep, took out the railroad track, I saw that. Some of them are just now getting their power back.
I get daily updates from the Metro Vegas. It's all I can say is bless her heart. You know, she just lets us know when she's got a, paper with water or electricity or whatever. But on our Zoom meeting last week on the Metro mayors, she was on Zoom. And how she kept it together, I'll never know. That woman, she's going through something. She's going through something that very few men go
Yep.
through.
Yep, just the efforts to flush toilets or is Herculean.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My heart goes out to everybody in the western part of the state. We're recovering. We're gonna be fine. I erupt for that. Any members have anything they want to bring up? Anybody online? Staff have anything they want to add?
I spoke to Chris May last week.
Oh,
He's in Blowing Rock.
yeah.
And he was without power for about a week. But they have a guardian generator, so they're doing well. He said that they were lucky, but the town next over was devastated and it's atrocious, he said, so, but they're fine.
Ordinarily, this time of year, my wife and I go up to Blowing Rock and boom, because the only thing she misses from us living up north is foliage. So I have to take her up to Blowing Rock and Boone every year to see it. And we actually had talked about this year instead of going, because we've gone like 6 years now. I wanted to go up to West Jefferson, Nash County. Yeah, believe it or not, West Jefferson is the one area that wasn't affected. But everything around it was. It's like God said, nah, let's leave that little village alone. They lost power for a day, but that was about it. But I think we're gonna leave those people alone this year. And just let them get through what they're getting through. They don't need to see my wife and I spending way too much money up there. All right. With that, the members of this board, we need to go into a closed session on a personnel matter, and I'll tell you what that is. North Carolina General Statute, because this means so much to all of us. 143-318.1186. It is a personnel matter, which has basically already been taken care of, but we need to talk to it with the board. So we will be going into closed session for a couple of minutes, and then we automatically will come back to adjourn. But that pretty much concludes all of our business for today, this executive committee meeting, except for those that are in the room. So for those online, thank you. We appreciate any of them online.
No, we
I think we can't because we're recording and streaming and all that.
Right. Those online, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you at the next meeting in December. As we go into closed session, so we're gonna be turning off the streaming.
Need a motion?
Thank you. You all have a good day.
Oh, yeah, good point.
You too.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
is there a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
Brenda.
Okay.
And Lynn, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna have to stop streaming because
Right.
Jackie and Lamont and Teresa are online. So we are gonna have to stop the streaming.
We can stop the streaming, but we'll continue recording, I think, for the.
Okay.
And because I think they're part of the quorum. And then, so you'll, if I remember correctly, you'll call me back in here and give me my evaluation.
I need my phone back.